What up, roomies? We're back with another episode of Neighbors. Tonight on Neighbors, we're crossing continents from Africa to Asia to America through the voice of a woman who's lived more than most of us. Born in Cameroon, raised through decades of change, and now shaping her truth in melodies that blend culture, soul, and raw emotion. She's more than a singer, she's a storyteller, a survivor, and a reflection of the world she comes from. With her latest single, "I Choose Me," she isn't just making songs, she's making statements. Tonight we go in deep into what shaped her sound, who inspired her, and what it really takes to turn life into art. Welcome to In the House Podcast Neighbors, C CZK. Oof, that was a tongue twister right
CZK. It twists a lot of tongues. So, but
there. It definitely
I love to clarify. It's CZK. You had it right.
CZK, baby.
You had it right before.
Thank you. But welcome to the show. I'm
Thank
honored
you.
that you don't usually do much podcast, so I'm very honored that you're giving us an exclusive and giving the roomies an exclusive and a journey, a look into that was your journey.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's really cool to be talking to you right now. So I look forward to, answering your questions and hopefully giving people a chance to know me a bit more.
Of course, of course. So let's start at the beginning, right? Who is
Yeah.
CZK before the music? Like by the research I've done, I know
Hmm.
you were born in Cameroon. You had some time in Bangladesh, and then you came to Harlem. Am I correct?
Yes.
All right.
Um, Obviously, there's more to the specific kind of transition, but
Yeah.
yes, born in Cameroon, and I left with my family. We moved to Bangladesh when I was 9. I turned 9 that week, actually. So it's always like, was it 8? It was a 9, but it was 9. And yeah, I spent my teenage years there. I went to college, North South University, for those who know.
Hey.
Yeah. And um, and then I immigrated to the US when I was 20. Um, and I had always been passionate about music. And I always had the dream that if I made it to the US, I was gonna pursue it. But like it was a whole different vision. A whole
Okay.
different, and I'm not even gonna get into that, right? But that vision didn't pan out. And, I eventually came in and my priority was just obviously you gotta make a living, be able to take care of yourself and, your folks and stuff. Music became a priority to me. It never felt like it was something I could do really, because life took, the immigrant route. I'm a family of immigrants,
Yeah.
and we're all, just first batch of immigrants for my family,
Yeah.
right? And so it's a different reality. And priorities are different. So I never thought I could, but thankfully, as God would have it, like I was able to prioritize, and it's like it's a part of me. So the biggest lesson was you're an artist. You're always an artist. It's just who you are, right? And if you don't exercise that, you can't be your whole self. So that's really how it started. And so I've been juggling life and everything else and prioritizing my music. And it's been quite a journey. So that's where Harlem comes in.
Hey.
So I'm a Jersey girl
Okay.
in a sense.
Jersey.
I moved to Jersey, been in Jersey, got property in Jersey, like I'm a Jersey girl. Um, but then, New York is New York.
New York is New York, baby.
New York is New York, and Harlem is Harlem.
Believe
It's
me, I
just
know. I work in Harlem, so I know I'm there with the hustle and bustle every day.
Harlem, it's the energy. It's everything. I just feel at home. So yeah, this has been my home. This is actually I'm in my apartment right now. And you know, this is my creative spot. This is where I record. It's where I create. It's where it all happens. It's where I write.
All right, all right. Now, how does because I'm also the son. I'm the son of immigrants as well. I'm a first generation immigrant. How do you feel that being from like a family of immigrants, changes the perspective of like somebody that's already been here for a while, or like people who've had generations here.
Ah, that's a beautiful question. And, it's a different perspective because you have a whole other perspective of what life is so like, you have more things that you can compare to in a way that what's better, what's worse in that sense. But also you're building roots. You're finding something that's yours where you have
Yeah,
nothing. And it's a tough journey. It's hard.
it
And
definitely is.
that's just a perspective that you kind of have to live it to fully understand. And we see that people don't really, they don't like, even people who really care,
Yeah,
you know um they just can't ever know what it's really like. But it's
yeah,
different. But then again, everybody's got their different realities, right? And but I definitely think that just the experience of having to move and your ability to move to a new place and create home. So I think there are good things there too, because you know how to adapt, you know how to always look ahead, whatever happens,
yeah,
because
and
you've survived before.
yeah, because you're always overcoming adversities, always,
Yes.
stepping up to the challenge, and kind of rolling with the punches of life.
Yeah. And you're
And
just kind of going with it.
that is true. And then on top of that, with influences of like another country or another culture, you always bring in a certain type of flavor as well.
Absolutely. And it's
So
really through my, yeah, go ahead.
no, no, go ahead, go
Sorry.
ahead. No,
No,
go
I was
right
gonna
ahead.
say it's through my own exploration and evolution as an artist that I was able to see those influences, because you have to really question and be curious and find those things within yourself, and it affects musical style, musical ear,
That is true.
your sense of style, your just everything.
No, I completely understand that because it's like your culture and your experiences kind of influence the rhythm and flow that you go by. You know what I mean? Like
Absolutely.
coming from like this is my own background. Coming from like a Dominican household, there's a whole lot of like rhythmic drums and bass and like always movement. You know what I mean in our music. So it's like
Oh
when you
man.
see when you hear my like because I do a lot of house. That's like my jam.
Okay.
So you hear a lot of percussion, you hear a lot of movement, a lot of bass movement, and all that stuff. So I get exactly where you're coming from.
I love that. I love the DR, by the way.
The art,
Absolute. Oh my God.
the art's the shit.
The food, the weather, the hospitality,
Yeah, man.
just everything. I like it's a very special place to me for a lot of reasons. But yeah,
The
that's
art is, yeah. I can't wait to go back. Get out of this
yeah.
cold
Do you go
shit.
often?
Yeah, I for a while I didn't, but now I'm kind of like reinvigorating my love for that for the Dominican
I
Republic
love
because
that.
my parents are retiring now, and
Mhm.
so I'm gonna be traveling back and forth, and also we have businesses out there as well.
Mhm.
So now that the reins are kind of being handed over to me, I have to have I have to be more present there. So
Yeah.
that's really what it is like. But seeing it from the eyes of an adult to from like the
Yeah.
eyes of a child is totally different because you get to enjoy and get to appreciate everything that's really there. You know what I mean?
It's beautiful. I love those things that like as you grow,
Yeah,
like how you see them, it evolves too. And it's like it doesn't take away from the things you learned before, but it just adds. Like it's just a different perspective every time. Love that
definitely.
love that you're getting to experience that.
Thank you, thank you. I really appreciate that. So, what was the moment that you realized that your voice was something special, something you wanted to share with the world? Mm,
Those are actually two separate things. But I'll answer the first one.
okay.
When I knew my voice was special was I don't remember what age, but I was early teens, like very early teens. Not even, sorry. It was like probably 11, 12, or something like that. And I was singing, and I didn't sing to people back then. Like I didn't sing out loud. It's like
Mhm.
I was developing my love for music. It was like the secret love that was growing, but I never really sang out next to people. And so my sister was around, and I knew she was. I think I was singing it. I wanted to sing out loud,
Yeah.
but like you're. It's not that I thought I was good or anything. And then so she was kind of like going about it, and then she came back later and she's like, you have a really nice voice. And I don't think she even remembers this, but it was so special for me. It was, I think just hearing someone say that, it was validation that the thing that I was falling in love with was something that actually can, you know, I can express, I can kind of emulate.
Yeah.
And then when I decided I had to share with the world, I think it's a more serious question, right? Because the artist's journey is crazy.
Okay.
And it takes a lot of determination. Like it just, there comes a point where you just decide that this is just, I'm just going to always do this. And I'm always going to do it fully and respectfully of what I honor it to be,
Yeah.
and to the best of my abilities. And so that for me is like when you think, okay, hold on, because I had to hang the towel. After grad school, I did a few gigs. I did Boston. Shout out to the community in Boston. I
Shout
was
out
around
Beantown.
doing gigs in New York. This was years back.
Yeah.
Um, and then when I started working full time, I was just like, I can't do it. And it was more important for me, and with everything to kind of follow stability. And it's like, maybe it's not going to happen for me. I care more about being okay as a family that's like moved and it's, than
Yeah.
my own individual aspirations. So hung the towel for several years, then grew up, and got up to a point in life where it's like, okay, you know, this is my appreciation for this art form. I want to be part of expressing that, creating that in like the fullness of it, with the integrity of it. And then like saying I was going to do it for real. I think it's important that I do this because it must be, kind of like my purpose, my calling. I can express myself about the things I care about, the things I think are important. So, that was 2023.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. So, who were like the influences that made you like fall in love with like soul music and make you? Because I've heard like one or two tracks. I'm not gonna lie, and your voice is amazing. I truly love it. So
Thank
like,
you. Appreciate
so
it.
like, what like were they like any artists that influenced you, or was it like a family thing?
No, it was artists. It was artists. My family is creatively and athletically inclined.
Okay.
Not that it was fully exercised in any kind of way in terms of like there were singing things or whatnot, but we just mostly creative, intellectual, and so just in terms of like career paths and um, what was it? Creative, intellectual, and what was the other one I said? Do you remember the first three?
Creative, intellectual. You said creative and oh, athletic.
Athletic.
Yes.
That. So that's us. And then, but I grew up, it was actually listening to music. Listening, so, okay, the backstory's long. I'm not going to get into it, at least
Take us
not
back,
today.
girl. We here. Take us back. Take us back.
Oh, there's a lot back. But, going through school, there were racism things. I was the youngest in my class and I was made fun of because of that. I was this little, like, and I was, I was, poor and like it was all the things. But I didn't like, so there was a time that MTV came on
Yeah.
in Bangladesh. And we don't always have the same channels internationally, right? And that evolves with time, like
Yeah,
different
of course.
channels and different stuff. So that was MTV, and I remember being very excited to go back home every day because now I had MTV,
Yeah.
and it was like somewhat of an escape for me. And so listening to everything, and MTV had all the genres. I
That's true.
remember I say 2005 is the best year of music of my lifetime.
Okay.
Well, conscious lifetime. So I was like, so, like maybe there were years that I wasn't aware of the music, but I mean, from like the time that I started listening to music to now. And it was because there were punk bands, there were rock bands, like, it was the year of emancipation of Mimi. It was the
Yeah.
year of, no, Usher had an album. I forget what the name was, but he had an
It wasn't.
album.
It was it Confessions.
Was it I feel like it was Confessions, but I don't know. We got to verify.
Let's
But
see.
I think Avril Lavigne had an album. Like there was like I think what was that band? I wanna be American idiot.
Yeah.
Green Day.
Green
And then there was everything. There was hip
Confessions
hop was
came out
popping.
in '04.
Darn, was it 04? Well, it was popping in 05.
Yeah.
But but so like, just that time, there was so much variety in music and it was fun and I loved everything. I was like soaking it all up. And then there were the shows, the MTV shows. So like even when we're talking visually, and back then videos were a huge thing, like,
Yeah.
so much more than they are today. There's just too much but videos were like, and
Were big deals.
they were huge. And you see all the different genres expressed in different ways. And so yeah, that's the stuff that made me. And then as I loved artists like Celine Dion. I loved her. I think her voice was, and it was actually a Celine Dion song I was singing when my sister heard me. And then getting into like, you know, like artists that were my age, like JoJo. I love JoJo and like Jesse McCartney. That and then there was I mean, it was so much. And then you grow up with the people that are like a little older than you, and then Rihanna's and and
Yeah.
whatnot. And it was just, and then the more I discover my passion for music, the more I wanted to go back. The more, and then all of a sudden you're getting into songs from different eras.
Yeah.
And I also Bangladesh is, I think, predominantly like a rock or metal genre country, and so there was a lot of that, and also acoustic guitars. And then my boyfriend at the time was really into indie music, so like also getting into that genre. So it was just like a lot of influences, but I think it was always artist driven. Until this day, I have so much love and so much appreciation for artists because everyone's a different thing, and someone could be like a dope songwriter,
Yeah.
but a terrible singer. Someone could be a great singer and, you know, a
It can't
terrible
write a song for
dancer.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's always something to appreciate, like their stage personas. Like everyone's different, and everyone's done the work and tapped into themselves. And yeah, that's really, that inspires me a lot. I love studying artists and getting into their work, and I love biopics. I've probably watched. Okay, that would be. I was gonna say I probably watched every biopic in the like soul genre, in the like pop soul, genre of things.
so
Folk
that's like
maybe.
so that's like the thing you nerd out about, like the biopics and all that stuff.
I love biopics. Love, 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 love.
That's like
Yeah.
how I am with like documentaries. I feel you on that.
Oh,
I nerd out
really?
with documentaries. Yeah, yeah.
I like
Especially like
documentaries.
history.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's nice. Yeah, yeah. I would like occasionally just randomly watch a documentary, especially if it was like nature based. And
Yeah.
then recently I've been stumbling upon more informational, like stuff that goes on, and then also, you know, scandals and just kind of what was going on. But yeah,
That's dope. That's dope. What would you? How would you describe like your creative process when you're like actually getting in the groove of like writing and like trying to like format a track?
Hmm. I wish I had a very structured answer to that, but it's really just a lot of different things. And I used to write a lot. Like I have a lot of melodies here, but I don't play an instrument, and I'm gonna learn. I have a guitar behind me that I have to pick up and start doing classes. And um, I'm learning production. I've been on a kind of like production journey for a while, but
All
I didn't
right.
always think I could do it. It was just like messing around. But recently, I see that I can, and it's one of the most liberating things. So, but back when I couldn't apply myself to the beat creation aspect of it, or the building the sound part of it, I would just write.
Yeah.
So I write a lot. I write a lot. In the first 3 months in New York, I probably wrote more than I've written ever. I was writing everywhere in the subway, like it's just writing stuff. So I write a lot, and that ultimately sometimes feeds into my music. But a lot of the songs that I've actually invested in, or like, you know, pushed to come to kind of get to the finish line, were songs that I wrote just kind of like just messing with a beat, just wrote something, or they weren't very, I didn't put too much control, or, it just kind of kind of came out like that, for lack of a
Yeah.
better word. But now that I'm getting into production more, like for blues, for example, I started with I started with just the instruments. Like I started, okay, layering and doing different things, and then it created a rhythm. And then with the rhythm, came the feeling. And then with the feeling came the expression and the
Oh,
words. So I think that's the more solid, route.
yeah.
And then in terms of when I get to it, that's the part I'm working on. I gotta get better at like just to be intentional. But I've also learned to go with the ebbs and flows. Sometimes you're in the creation aspect of your art. Sometimes you're in the learning aspect of it. Sometimes
That,
you're just in the rehearsal aspect of it. You just want to sing for, sometimes. So, but it's all part of it. So I interned at Lounge Studios um, last year. Love that place. They're like family. And
okay.
um, so Blue's the lead engineer, Grammy winning. He does like Solange's engineering and whatnot. So I was Solange knows, and I was in. I went to say hello, and it was towards the end of my internship, and I was just like, you know, he asked like what I wanted to do next, and it's like I had all these things I wanted to do, but I was feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm not as productive as I want to be. Like I feel like I'm not really doing anything. It was
Yeah.
incredibly inspiring. I learned so much, and it was one of the busiest times of my life, just otherwise, not because of the internship or anything. And I just felt like I was doing a lot of things, but nothing was really happening.
Yeah.
And you know what he said to me? He was like, every aspect of what you do for your music is putting in work.
Yeah.
It's like whether it's just listening to beats, maybe like on, days that maybe I'm low energy, and, and sometimes it's reviewing a track, sometimes it's actually writing, sometimes it's production, or it's mixing, sometimes it's different things. But I learned to appreciate that all these things are like part of the process. But the point and how it relates to your question is like, as I started getting into that understanding of like majority of what I do in a day
Yeah.
is creating and part of my art, I started, knowing when to use my energy levels best, right? But then also I realized that I'm a seasonal person, and we all are. There are times that you're in a different flow, you're in a different vibe, like a different priority, and
Yeah.
but you have to kind of flow with it, because where you are is where you are. As artists, we are observers. I think like our life is to observe and to express, and to like go through and express. So like all the stuff that you go, all the stuff that happened, it's feeding your perspective. It's giving you a point of view. It's giving you like insight into different things that ultimately get reflected in your art. Um, so now, like, if if I haven't written a song in like the last whatever, I'm like, it's cool because the day I'm gonna want to write a song, there's gonna be songs. There's
Yeah,
gonna be, and then the days that okay, maybe I haven't recorded in a while. It's okay, but I've been working on my songs in other ways, and the day I get to the mic, I'll deliver the song. Um, and the days I just want to jam and listen to music, I'm rehearsing, I'm training, I
yeah,
am envisioning the live performance aspect of it. So it's different things. There is no process, but there's rhythms, there's flows, there's eps, and different things. Back in way back when I said I did stand in Boston and New York, when I was just gigging around and getting to know the industry better. I went to Atlanta and I recorded a few things and I learned so much like from each of these things. But like back when I was doing that, I didn't realize that these are like pieces of it, right?
yeah,
And um I would work on something and then you don't know if it's ever going to become anything, but some of those songs are some of the songs I sing today and I
yeah.
sing them differently today, but they have the same essence. It's a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing, especially when you take your creation that you took from nothing, and now it's something beautiful. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
do you think that like the pressures of today's like consumer consumer consumerism mentality kind of like kills artistry because of the way like streaming is, or like the way that social media like kind of like, I don't want to say portrays, but kind of like pushes music?
I love that question because I've never thought about it in the way that I'm thinking about it now that you asked. Um, it definitely makes the journey more difficult.
Yeah,
It definitely makes the journey just really difficult. But the beauty is, I think it's producing some of the finest artists at the same time. Because at the end of the day, like in every generation, like there are musicians who just stuck with it, and there are musicians that didn't. Um, and when it's really hard, there's still going to be those who stick with it, and there are going to be those who drop it. But the resiliency, the resilience of those that stick now is crazy. And now you have to get to a place, and this is what I learned because
yeah,
I learned because in the years that I wasn't taking it seriously, I realized something. I just enjoyed music. Like I would sing in the shower and leave my cousins with, just and it was I got acquainted. I was just interacting with just the love of it. And I realized that I love doing it and it's what I want to do. So you get to a point where maybe as a kid you pictured being an artist, like what it is and what it really is very different. But like because you get to that point, and because I got to the point where after years of not doing it, discovering how much I love it, I did it for that reason. And of course, every musician wants to be successful. Like,
of
don't
course.
get me wrong, right? Everybody wants to be successful in what they do. Um, but that's not like you kind of know how hard the grind is, but you just keep pushing through and it just keeps making you a better artist.
That is
It
true.
makes you a better artist. And now we have more tools.
What what the this how the saying goes: pressure makes diamonds.
There we go.
You
It's
know,
true.
and that's very true. You mentioned that you started getting into production, right?
Yeah.
How has production helped with like your songwriting, and how do you feel that there's any difference between before you started production and now that you're in production?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And it's like a lot of things, you're learning a lot of things and they're kind of coming together as well at the same time. So I want to caveat with that. So
Yeah.
obviously I'm learning. I got a lot of great feedback from my chose me. A lot of great, like I think I really put a lot to getting the song out there and it really reached a lot of industry folks, a lot of people that gave me great feedback. Great positive, great negative. And I realized something. I'm like, wow, this journey is crazy because the more successful your song is, the more you actually have the opportunity to receive this feedback
Yeah.
that only makes you a better artist. Because imagine if everyone's talking about it and there are people who are talking from different angles. And as an artist, you're always trying to get better at your work. So it's like it was crazy to me how much I got from something that didn't go like, crazy far. And then imagine for songs that really blow and you
Yeah.
see how artists evolve faster. But anyway, so I was learning more like of things that I wanted to be intentional about in my songwriting. I was learning what I like about what I don't. Like I said, a lot of things just kind of come at the moment. I flow with it. If I like it, I like it. But at the same time, sometimes you want to put more intentions. Like, okay, I maybe this is how I want it, but let me try to make it more, structured in a
Yeah.
way that maybe is more conventional that a certain listener might interact with in a more easy way, right? So but at the same time as production's coming in, I also got an opportunity to play with a live band, Chartavoine and the Evolution. Shout out at the
Yeah.
Cutting Room, and it was a phenomenal experience for me. And I remember at the one rehearsal that we had in very limited time, I was a bit thrown off because they were playing my song very differently. And I said I wanted to hear how they were gonna. I didn't want them to emulate whatever they were playing it differently, and threw me off a bit. And I was trying to find my flow in it. And I remember one of the musicians, he was like, musically, it's very repetitive for us. He said, as the lead vocalist, you get to take, you take the song where you take it, and we kind of follow. So, like, the parts are the same, right? The verse, instruments, the choruses, the outro, like, they know what goes with what and at what part.
Yeah.
So it's very repetitive, but it's just different sections and different arrangements. But this one insight changed the game for me and how I engage my DAW when I'm trying to make a song. Because now I'm like, okay, this is my drums. This now you're visualizing the whole arrangement. You're more like, okay, I want guitars here, or you know what, this is more sweet sounding. I want something, I want something, I want some chimes in here. I want like this is the pattern I want to go with. I want to use
Yeah.
an ethnic drum, or and then I want it to be like this much, this many bars. I want it to come here, right? But now you're able to control the narrative because for years I struggled because not playing an instrument, I always felt boxed in buying beats because
Yeah.
you buy beats and you kind of have to make it work, which
Yeah.
is fine. It's its own thing, but it was never my true thing. It's and the way I like to say, and it's a little bluesy, a little jazzy, a little soul, it's a little hip hop. It's different, and I like to do different things. So as I was kind of working on the rhythm for blues,
Yeah.
I had freedom. Those when you're able to produce the song, you have the freedom to make it,
Oh, believe
you
me, I
know.
know.
So it allowed my voice to go where it went. I felt free to take it wherever I wanted to. And I felt like if I sang a lyric a certain way, I wanted to give a certain effect. Maybe I want this instrument to come in there. So hell yeah. It just gelled the whole process together.
That's what's up. I'm about to judge you right now, so don't mind me. But what doll are you using?
Ooh. Okay, 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 okay. I'm gonna give you the most. It sounds politically correct, but it's
Yeah.
actually true. I use Pro Tools and Logic.
Okay.
But
All
here's
right.
the thing.
All right.
Here's the thing. I think, and I could be dead wrong. So nobody think I'm not the. I don't know.
No, no, that's
I know nothing.
not judging you
But
on that. Just
here's what I
I
think.
thought you was about to say garage band. I was about
No, no.
to say.
So Pro Tools, I feel like is an engineer's DAW. I feel like it's an engineer's DAW.
Yeah.
But I feel like Logic is an artist's DAW.
Yeah.
Because like just being able to do my lyrics, my everything in one space, I think it's more user friendly. Um, and it lets you play around in a space that is like contained.
No, I
Um,
got what you mean.
yeah. So, but it's Logic for me
All right,
mostly.
cool. I'm
But
using Pro Tools and Fruity Loops.
okay. I want to
Yeah.
explore more of that. Like I want to mess around with Ableton.
Ableton is Ableton is dope. Ableton
I
is
want
really
to.
dope because they have this one feature that most DAWs don't have, which is like a live performance feature,
Okay.
which is like really dope for
Yeah,
like
yeah.
if you're doing like really long sets or like doing DJ sets, like
Mm.
it's really on point for that.
Is that the one Ed Sheeran uses? I bet because he does a lot of. I wonder. But anyway, so I think if I could, in my musical journey, be great with all three of those, that would be just phenomenal.
You got this. I got faith in you. I believe in you.
Thank you. Thank you. I
So
need as much of that good energy as I can get.
yeah, positive. It's always gonna be positive vibes over here.
Yeah.
So what's been like the biggest lesson you've learned, like with everybody that you've met in like the music industry and like your own personal experience? What would you say would be the biggest lesson you've learned?
The biggest lesson is that no one's gonna like this might sound, and this is not like a negative thing,
Yeah,
but no one's gonna believe in you until you show them who you are. And like no one's gonna believe because like and that's where you have to like believe in yourself and really get to a place in your artistry where people can just see what you've been knowing about yourself or your art or your
yeah,
music. So it's like and so with that it's saying like don't think anybody's going to see, and this goes like this is to say because when you're getting into the industry, you're learning different things, you're trying to network, you're trying to like get you know educated on things, you're trying to meet people who could help you with photo shoots, like you're trying to find things within your range, your budget, you're trying to like there's so many elements like being an artist is and you know and you hope that the people who you come across will get it because like your dream, your art, like that thing that push
yeah,
every day, you're like creating this thing that you believe in so much that is like found within yourself, and nobody's going to see it until you're able to just be it. And
yeah,
so that also gets to say a lot of times when you're starting, you're not there in a lot of ways, like you think you're just not. And it's like you don't know it back then, right? You're looking for a shot, you're looking for an opportunity, you're looking for that, you no one's going to give it to you because you just are not you're not it, you're not which means you have work to do, and which means like focus on doing the work, just kind of focus on that, focus on exploring yourself, exploring the things you like, you don't like, who you are, what you vibe with, what you don't, make it your life, like
yeah,
same thing, who are the people you vibe with, people you don't, what would you put your time in, well, like so you just got to keep doing that until until you are that dream of yourself, and then that's when people will see it or believe it, or and then you don't really, and then it's like you don't even
yeah.
care if people see it, because you're just too busy being yourself.
because I would say the artist, especially with the artist journey, right, is very comparable to like the hero's journey, right?
Mm,
Where you start off at this one point and your journey is taking you to, all these many different points that you kind of like level up
yeah.
until everybody else sees what you've always saw in yourself.
Mm,
You know what I
mm,
mean? So, and a lot of people, and I would say the majority of people who go on this journey, even though we think that success in like this industry is, being like Beyonce or being like Rihanna, you know what I mean? When it could be you have, a million fans that support you greatly, and that's where you at, you know what I mean? And that's success amongst itself. But
mm.
what would
Y-
you, no, you
Yeah.
were gonna say?
No, I was gonna say, yeah, success for me as an artist is just being able to do it, being
Yeah,
able to keep to do it and keep doing it. And it's a lot of things because I think the one thing that's the most unfair thing about being an artist is that, the world we live in doesn't put, a good value to an artist. Like you have to be, it's either you're, to survive just being a working musician, we're just not in a place where every artist can actually take care of themselves in the same standard you would pay an accountant or like, you know, it's just, and that's the we teach people, kids, more to learn the trade of what's hot in the market. You go
yeah,
to school for how many years so you could have a trade that's what the market wants. We don't teach people to tap into themselves and you know and encourage their true aspirations and talents to be their trade in a there's no fair market for
no,
musicians or art or
I completely
any
agree
kind
with
of
you.
artist. So that's the tragedy. That's the tragedy. But I think that for the artists that are able to do it, and they can take care of some basic needs, they can just be able to do it and still being able to be content with your life.
Yeah,
To me, that's success.
I agree with you 100%. Um, this question just popped into my head, right?
Yeah,
With like, society kind of like teaching us to go for like certain career paths and all that.
right.
Do you think that kind of like kills people's journey to like finding their higher selves or finding
Of
their true selves?
course. Of course. And there's like, so for me, right? I, you know, there's a lot from my career outside of music, or my experiences outside of music, my education. There's a lot there that played into my ability to navigate, like, the many things that is to like put a project together, or kind of make sure that you're on top of the things that need to be done. There are a lot of skills that are valuable, but I do think that it does make it difficult to find your way to your true thing, or the thing. I always say, like, what's the thing that you could do forever and you'll never
Yeah,
really be
get tired
tired
of
of? It feeds you. I say there are jobs that take from you and they don't replenish, and there are jobs that they replenish more than they take. Like, I could be tired as hell if it's music related. I'm tired, but my spirit is fed.
it. Yeah,
So but yeah, we don't, and it took me a long time to find my way to, like, and I think I was fortunate because it was like a training that I got from one of my jobs, actually,
yeah,
called it Discover Your Purpose workshop. And that actually was what brought me back. But yeah, you don't get a lot of opportunities to remind yourself, or to like be introspective, especially when we're living, like, being, you know, middle class, in a country where it's crazy to, like, we're all
yeah, yeah.
grinding. You're grinding so hard, like you don't even get to like check in with yourself
You know, and
before, like, what was that? What was the dream? Like, you know?
You know, now a lot of people, give up the dream. A lot of people are feeling burnt out.
Hmm.
Exhaustion kicks in, and that kills a lot of aspiration for a lot of people.
It does. It does.
And it's sad because you would think that in today's society, with everything that we have, that we would uplift more creative people, uplift
Yeah.
people with ideas that would forge society or unify
Yeah.
the populace. But
It's
unfortunately,
crazy.
we don't, and it's a shame. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And we need artists essential. Like,
Yeah,
are you joking? Like, literally from music to movies to just everything that's beautiful. Like it's all built from art more than
yeah,
it is from science. And it's just the most organic thing. And it's what everybody gravitates to take the edge off, to be able to experience life, to live a little. It's essential. And art is like we basically express reality, the goods, the bads, the uglies, that's what it is. And but you do it with an energy to kind of like console, to unify.
to material
Um,
to like materialize emotion. You would say,
yes,
yeah,
yes, it's so essential. And we tell stories. The movies
yeah,
that have, been, if we didn't have all these things to educate us, to inform us of a different time, of a different thing, like how many people have been inspired or have found their calling because they watched something or they heard something. Like I was telling you, it was music that kind of took me to this place that I've never let go of. And that was from experiencing other art. And I feel like art is what really keeps you in tune with your spirit. you
yeah.
know it's like you need it to be grounded with what's inside. So everything else in life, like it engages your physical, your mental, but art is what really engages your spirit.
I feel you on that. I'm about to ask you for a hot take right now,
Okay.
right? Do you think R&B and soul is better now or back in the early 2000s?
I will humbly say that I do not have the extent of education on the subject to have an opinion.
All right,
You know?
I got you. I got you.
Yes. R&B is like it's also like it's a genre that it's like it's evolved so differently, but it's always had its own flavor. Like every
True.
so it's like it's even hard to fully compare one R&B era to another because it's just a whole different feel to it, but it's grounded in the same thing. You know what I mean? There's some genres that it's kind of like for the most part they've stayed the same, but then there's genres that they've stayed the same, but then they've given like so many different spins to it that all flow in a
True.
unique way. And I think R&B is one of those.
That is true. That is true. I will agree with you on that because I do enjoy a little trap soul here and there,
Yeah,
and I would say that's definitely an offshoot of R&B,
yeah,
like Bryson
yeah,
Tiller and all that. So I definitely
yeah,
do agree with that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So what would you say like what in the future? What like upcoming projects do you have coming out? Like what can we expect?
Well, you can expect blues.
Okay,
First
okay,
quarter of 26. It's in the work. I was actually last night reviewing the third the third mix.
okay.
And I'm hoping that by the end of next week, I would have all my notes for a final mix, and hopefully we can be done with that part of it. I'm really excited about that. And in June, weekend of Juneteenth, June 20th, I will be doing an event at Artful Walls Gallery. Shout
Okay.
out, much love. I love that place. So yeah, so I'll be doing an event and um, other shows and stuff. And then I have an EP project I'm also working on called I Am CZK.
Okay.
Um, Well, at least that's the title now. I'll see if I want to stick with it or not. But yeah. And so it's I'm hoping to release pieces of it throughout next year. Um and that would be, it wouldn't really be fully reflective of the direction I'm going with my current, like with production, and
Yeah.
that's more for like hopefully an album down the line.
All right. Cool.
But
Cool.
for my EP, I want to recreate some of the songs that brought me here, because listening back to a lot of songs that I made, and throughout the journey so far, and it's been at different times because I wasn't consistent, right? There was like back then and like so, but I've evolved in my singing, I've evolved in my artistry, but the words are true, the emotions are still, and I feel
Okay.
like they're resonant, and I want to be able to reproduce them and re-engineer, re-record, whole new vibe to it, and release them as an EP.
Okay. Cool.
So those are two big things. So blues, this, and then the event matters to me because I want to be able to do an annual event at Artful Walls Gallery.
Okay.
Um, it's and I have another brand called Black Living, and
Okay.
it's for me. That's my if I host a show, or if I host an event, it's through Black Living, and for me, Black Living, I think it's inspired by the idea that I think Black people through every generation have gone through so much
Facts.
that I just think every Black person in present day should be living, should be enjoying life. Like no matter what's going on, no matter what's going on, take the time, go out, you know, interact, engage, enjoy music, enjoy food, just vibe. Like, and do it with your chest, dress up for it, shout your best, take someone out. But I think we should be doing that no matter what, because we've always had it rough,
Yeah.
even now. And so, but we've always gotten through it. And I think celebrating each other has always been a part of that. Even when you think of, you know, the songs that came up from struggle, or, just even the darkest times, people will be singing and having food and getting by. Even before the technology, before all the things, people
Yeah.
communed and they did that. So I want to be able to always take some time out to create that space where I can give off that energy and kind of feel it too from everybody.
I feel you. I feel you, and that's beautiful. What evolution do you want like your fans to hear on your upcoming projects and shows?
I think I'm evolving visually,
Okay.
so that's one thing. Um, I hope people stay tuned to that, and I'm learning to apply myself visually more fully, more intentionally, and so there's that. And musically, there's just gonna be more soul. There's gonna be more soul, more edginess. Um, and then with the album, the God knows when is that's gonna be done, right? Who
Yeah.
knows when? But with that, I hope that they see just truly who CZK is as an artist, like the most authentic expression of music that I've probably done so far. And then from there, we'll see. But I haven't thought that far. So,
No, I feel you. I
so
feel you.
yeah, it's gonna be a lot of growth, a lot of evolution.
No, I feel you on that. And yet again, like I said, I compliment you on your voice. It's beautiful. Beautiful
Thank
voice.
you. Thank you. Are you coming on 13th?
I'm DJing.
What am I? You know what? That's like, oh my God, you better cut this part because that I'm bugging. But
Girl, you know, I'm gonna leave this joint right in. But no,
be like, yo, you are not singing no more.
no, but towards the end of the night, I'm still debating. I spoke to Katie,
Yeah.
and at the end of the night, I might throw down a set. I'm still debating on what exactly I'm gonna do. I'm thinking
Okay.
I'm gonna go maybe like deep house, Afro house, but I'm also thinking dubstep. So
Ooh,
we'll
ooh.
see what
You
happens.
tell me if I need to plan to be there to ungodly hours of the day because
I don't think
usually,
I don't think so. I think it's gonna end pretty early. It's not gonna. I know it's not gonna run too late
yeah,
because
yeah,
usually the showcases run. I've
to like
DJ'd
10.
DJ'd for her for the last four of them, I believe,
Hmm.
and it usually ends by like 11, 12 o'clock. It's
That's
not like
true. But I
yeah,
usually leave like maybe between 10:30 and 11.
yeah.
So sometimes it's still going on and I never know how long it goes on for because I never stay the full time. And but anyway, so yeah, there's that, and there's a gig on the 18th that I actually have to confirm by the end of this weekend. I hope that it's not too late because it came on a little kind of like recently. So I'm probably gonna say yes to that. Um, but yeah, come through. Let's,
We're
for
gonna
that
chop it up.
one.
We're gonna chop it up. We definitely gonna
Yeah.
chop it up.
And I was just
And
gonna shout out to April Stanford too. She's doing a pre-Valentine's event.
all
So
right,
it's gonna be February 13th, right around my birthday too. So she's doing and she's booked me for that one too. So that's gonna be fun. I know it sounds far, but February will be here before we know it.
this year went by fast as
Oh my God.
fast as hell. But
It's like you blink and
facts.
it's like,
I it,
whoa.
I turned around. I thought it was March. It's already
Oh
December.
my God.
But
Mm-mm.
now
We keep moving.
that
We keep
I ask
moving.
everybody this.
Hmm.
Do you have any final thoughts or any advice for the roomies before we go?
Do you
Bam,
unapologetically?
bam. You heard it here first, roomies.
Do you?
You know, and roomies, do you? And remember, if you become nothing, nothing can defeat you. Think about that.
Yeah.
Peace out.
Peace. Thank you.